They say streaks come and go, and unfortunately, the Carolina Hurricanes winning streak ended on Saturday night against the Colorado Avalanche. But honestly, if you're a Hurricanes fan, there is nothing to worry or panic about when it comes to these Canes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the Carolina Hurricanes beat writer over at the Hockey Writers. Also do a Chicago Wolves column weekly called Wolves Weekly. Also the co-host of the Surge Cast, which is a weekly Carolina Hurricanes podcast, along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. So on this Monday edition of the show, we are going to recap the game from Saturday night for your Carolina Hurricanes when they played the Colorado Avalanche. What basically stood out and why I still think like that fans shouldn't really worry about the fact that, unfortunately, teams are going to lose games, but there's nothing to panic or have anything to worry about when it comes to the team. And then at the end of the show, during segment 3, we're going to preview the Hurricanes' Monday night game against the Vegas Golden Knights in the desert of Nevada. But before we jump into all of that, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Now, like I said, when it comes to the Carolina Hurricanes on Saturday against the Colorado Avalanche, it was... You knew going into that game was going to be weird regardless, because if you listen to the Friday episode that I had with Bailey Curtis from the Hockey News, as she's the Colorado Avalanche beat writer over on that side of things, also a co-host of the Surge Cast with me, we talked about how in the fact that it's always a weird game for the Hurricanes to go into Colorado. It's always like it's either a barn burner or it's a really close one or something weird happens, like bad board bounces or stuff like that, or guys get hurt. Luckily, as of right now, no one's really been named hurt for either side. It's just usually those games are always weird. And then, of course, the Hurricanes have a losing streak in Denver. For whatever reason, they can't find a way to snap that losing streak in the Mile High City. And then on top of that, like what we talked about, the Avalanche are a very angry team. They are struggling right now. So you knew if like Nathan MacKinnon gets hot and Cal McCarr and all those guys, the big boys really showed for Colorado, it would make things very interesting for the Carolina Hurricanes, which it did. And then also on top of that, same-day travel, because unfortunately they were supposed to fly in Friday. Snowstorm hit Denver. Flight was delayed until Saturday morning. And then the Canes flew the same day. So and I know Rod doesn't want to use the excuse of same-day travel and stuff like that, but it is tough if you think about it, because you're going from where you're at in Raleigh, North Carolina, a couple hours from the beaches. And then you're going, 2 time zones away, not a short flight. Then you're going up an elevation to over a mile above, sea level. Same day, no morning skate. You're basically flying, getting off the plane, getting in the rink, getting ready, and then you're playing a game. So it's not trying to make excuses for the team. It's just a lot of things where you kind of knew this game was going to go sideways and it was not going to be all right, how are the Canes going to do against this team? Like, it wasn't going to be like, we're going to take care of business. It was going to be one of those games where it's going to get weird, and it definitely was weird for the most part when it comes to the Hurricanes. And like I said, it's not just it's not naming excuses, but you can definitely tell just from all the signs that you've seen of, like I said, same-day travel, no morning skates, the losing streak in Colorado. The big boys for the Avalanche are going to show up, and they played, McCarr and McKinnon all played over 25 minutes. And it's just one where it got away from you. And unfortunately, that's just a culmination of where the Hurricanes' 8-game winning streak was snapped in Colorado. Of course, you got to give the Hurricanes a lot of credit. They did score 2 goals in the first period. Or they scored 1 goal in the first period, so you're feeling kind of good by yourself. Jack Drury, 9 minutes in, second of the season. Then, you're up 2-0. Jordan Martinick for his third of the year. Sean Walker gets his first assist for the Hurricanes. And then Unfortunately, the second period kind of unraveled from there. Cale Makar, no surprise, a shorthanded goal. Then, they tied it not that long after, so it's 2-2. Luckily, you get a power play goal once again from Martin Necas, who, as of right now, just for how Martin Necas has been playing for your Carolina Hurricanes, he, as of right now, just from how great he's playing, he's on a 9-game assist streak while also scoring 7 goals in that time. All other guys that do that same accomplishment is him, Nathan MacKinnon from this year, Connor McDavid in 2022, Patrick Kane in 2019, Jaromir Jagr in 2000, then Mario Lemieux in 1995, 93, 92, 91, and 1988, and then Wayne Gretzky back in 1990. But for the fact that his overall way that he's been playing has just been absolutely phenomenal overall, and you'll be able to see that he gets his 8th goal and just keeps his point streak alive. Of course, Seth Jarvis got his 7th assist of the season along with Andrei Svechnikov. And then, unfortunately, like I said, the big boys of Colorado showed up. Nathan MacKinnon ties it. Not that long after, Artturi Lehkonen gets his 2nd of the season. And then Mikko Rantanen on the power play, 1849. So you're talking within 4 minutes of each other. You already have, you're going from a 3-2 Hurricanes lead to a 5-3 Colorado lead. You get out of the second period, you're down 5-3, and then all of a sudden it's just you go into the last period, you try to find a way to get yourself back into it. You do get one from Jordan Martin at 2:50 into the period, but then of course Mikko Rantanen went the empty netter, seals the deal, and that's all she wrote for your Hurricanes and their 8-game winning streak is snapped. But I mean, they're still 10-3. Like I said at the beginning of the show, there's nothing really to get too worried about. It's just, it is what it is. No team can go 8-2-0. If you have already listened or haven't listened yet to the Monday edition of Locked on NHL with Gil Martin, I talked about on his show with him. If you haven't yet, go check it out. If it's not out yet, it'll be out sometime in the afternoon. Or if you already have listened to it, you know that I talked about how you're 10-3. No one can go 8-2-0. There's nothing really to panic about when it comes to this team. The only thing you really maybe nitpick is you're hoping for some of the big boys of the Hurricanes kind of pull off what a Nathan MacKinnon, Mikko Rantanen type guy would be, where they take over a game and they're getting 2 or 3 points, straight up dominating, turn the game on its head type deal. And that's the only thing you really kind of take away from this game was just the fact that, you got to hope those guys kind of start doing that type of thing. And then, too, if you look at overall, it was just that second period hurt the Canes. The second period was kind of their bane of existence last year overall during the 23-24 season. And you can just tell this period got away from them really quick. You're up 1-0, you go up 2, Avalanche tie it, you find a way to get the lead right back on a power play, and then it's just the big guys of Colorado kind of just impose their will. Next thing you know, you're down 5-2. You're down 5-3 going into the last period. You get back within 1, but it's just one of those things, man, where it's a culmination of just crazy stuff that was kind of leading up to it, and then it's just the Avalanche finding a way to impose their will, and kind of it's just a game where it was just you knew that this was not going to be an easy one for the Canes. And of course, you got Spencer Martin in net. He hasn't played. It was his season debut for the Canes. You're wondering if they go with Piotr. I think with the same day travel, I think that's why they kind of went with Spencer Martin, because it was kind of like a what can you do type situation, to where it's you're traveling the same day. You already knew this game was going to be up in the air. You knew it was going to be a back and forth affair. Martin needs to get some playing time as well. I guess you want to try to preserve Kochekov with the day off on Sunday and get him ready for Vegas on Monday. So I think it's just a culmination of a lot of things. This is why you saw Spencer Martin in net. But guys, that's not all. There's a lot more to talk about in this game. So stick around as I'll talk about what stood out to me overall, just beyond the scorelines and who scored between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Colorado Avalanche. So stick around as I'll dive more into that here in a second on a Monday edition of Locked on Hurricanes. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on the least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with PrizePicks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Sign up today and get $50 instant when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. Now, for me, am I going to go into a game where maybe Chuba Hubbard of the Carolina Panthers, will he rush for 120 and a half in a game, or do I think that Bryce Young might pass for over 220 and a half? But I mean, hey, it's always good when you see the Carolina Panthers win, especially in Munich. So great game by the guys over the weekend. But you can do that and so much more with PrizePicks. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONAHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONAHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You can do all that on PrizePicks, where you can run your game. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes game tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. It does even more than that. Concerts, comedy centers, and so much more. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Now, for me, like I said, it's not just about sports. If you're looking for a Broadway play, you can go check that out. If there's a concert you want to go to, like maybe if you want to go check out, I don't know if you're into Slipknot or if you're looking into Zach Brown Band, name an artist, you can probably find tickets on there. But if you toggle their all-in pricing feature, this will show your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Now, my favorite, part of the app is their seat view finder, because you get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. So you got to worry about, obstructive views or awkward angles. You know what you're getting at from your seat before you even buy it, because let's be honest, you want to take the guesswork out of buying tickets, and you can do that with Gametime Picks. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONAHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONAHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Well, it's game time. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said at the end of segment 1, kind of going into what I think kind of stood out in the game for the Carolina Hurricanes and their 6-4 loss to the Colorado Avalanche, outside of, weird travel day and, the losing streak and a whole bunch of other things. This was you could call it a gong show game if you really wanted to. It's definitely a lot of things that came into the game. There's a lot of aspects to what maybe didn't go in the way of the Hurricanes that you would think of. Now, of course, the goal that was definitely in question for a lot of fans, and one that still proves that goaltending interference still doesn't make any sense, Artturi Lehkonen's go-ahead goal for the Colorado Avalanche. Now, a few seconds prior, he misses a wide-open net, just absolutely shoots it wide. I don't know how you missed that. I mean, playing hockey is tough, especially if you're in the NHL. But if you have a wide open net where you basically just have to slide it in, almost like shuffleboard style or like any type of ice game you can think of, you easily could have put that in there, no problem. But he shoots it wide. Some of the Avalanche recycle it around, then he somehow gets a tip-in shot off a shot from the point. But the thing was, though, you could definitely tell the Hurricanes are challenging for goaltender interference, because there was definitely some contact. I think it was between Nathan McKinnon's skate and Spencer Martin's, which if you look at how goaltending interference usually is, that's typically called. That is going to be goaltender interference, because you delayed the goalie for them to stop the puck and be able to get set. Now, of course, there's the adage of, was he pushing to your goalie? All this other stuff, but you could definitely tell, though, and Rod Burnmore said it too after the game, that they have still shots of Nathan McKinnon's skate making contact with Spencer Martin's, and that does inhibit him, which does fall under the goaltender interference policy. But unfortunately, the Hurricanes didn't get the benefit of the doubt, lost the challenge, goal stood. Now they're back on the PK once again. And then they got another penalty in succession of that. So now you go on a 5-on-3. And it was one of those things, man, where, and once again, we've said it all season, the 5-on-3 bites the Hurricanes, and it does again. Like, I think I saw a stat, I think it was from Kane Stats brand on X. This is the 7th time they've been called to go. They've been put on a 5-on-3. I think the next team has 4 or 5. I think it's 4. Then it's like there's barely a lot of teams with maybe 2. But the Hurricanes have been on 7 5-on-3s already this season. If you heard me talk about it, I think it was last week, that we're hoping this isn't the new norm, where you saw it against the Washington Capitals and you saw it against the Philadelphia Flyers, where they went on the 5-on-3 disadvantage and got bit twice. Happened again last night against Colorado. So that's 3 times in a week where you see them get absolutely just, I don't know how you want to see it, screwed over, unfortunate circumstances to where you're on a 5-on-3 and you get beat all 3 times. I'm hoping this isn't the new trend for the Hurricanes, where you go from being on the penalty kill a lot to now you're defending a lot of 5-on-3s. And we all know how good the penalty kill is, but that's tough on a consistent basis to go on a 5-on-3. And like I said, I'm hoping this isn't the new norm for the Hurricanes, but it is kind of pretty tough when you're looking at the fact that it's not a super trend. It's not trendy enough to make it a concern, but it's enough towards like, okay, this has been a happenstance of not once, but not twice, but 3 times in a week. This might be the slight cause for concern. Like, okay, this kind of has to stop, because you can't keep sustaining this type of situation every week and expecting your penalty killers to step up. So I'm hoping this just kind of writes itself off. But yeah, that 5-on-3 is definitely not helping the Hurricanes right now on the penalty kill and on the special teams, because now you're almost giving a goal up almost every time it happens. And then if you look at how just that goaltending interference is, once again, it's let me know what goaltending interference is, because I don't think anyone knows what this is, because it should be, Rod Brennamore said it perfectly, it should be black and white. Is the guy making contact? Yes. Not a goal. Is he not making contact? No. Okay, then it's a goal. Then it's rather if you see an actual push into the guy, if you see a defenseman push the guy into their goalie, okay, that's one thing. But if there's barely any push or barely a nudge, but the guy's still able to skate around and set himself up or even bump into the goalie well after the push, I still think that should be a goal that goes back. And right now, like you can see that there is contact between McKinnon and Martin. And unfortunately, they said that there wasn't contact, even though there clearly is. Hurricanes lose that challenge once again. It seems like the Hurricanes can never really benefit from a goaltender interference. It seems like 99.9% of the time they're always going to lose those calls. So it's just a dang if you do, dang if you don't, if you challenge it or not. Because either way, either they score or and that's it, or you challenge, they still get the goal called, and then you're on the PK. So it's like, what can you really do? And just once again, man, still cannot figure out what goaltender interference is. It should be a black and white rule, but it's still, subjective or objective, or however you want to put it. It's basically, there's just too much human error in this type of penalty call and trying to reverse it. It's just we need a more black and white defined. This is what goaltender interference is, and stay consistent, because every game it's different. And this is just getting crazy how it's worked out. But between that, like I said, the 5-on-3, those are kind of just saw what I kind of stood out in this game and kind of what hurt the Hurricanes. And, the second period wasn't their greatest thing last year. They have been doing better this year overall. It's just, it didn't work out in their favor this time. And then unfortunately, like I said, their 8-game winning streak is now officially snapped. But maybe it's a new opportunity to start a new one. Maybe they get to 9, maybe they get to 10 games. Who really knows? But, they always got to start with that one. And their next one is on Monday night against the Vegas Golden Knights, which we'll preview here in a second. So stick around as I'll jump into the preview of the Carolina Hurricanes against the Vegas Golden Knights here in a second on a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL. Welcome back to segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So like I said, we're going to jump into the preview for your Carolina Hurricanes against the Vegas Golden Knights for first of 2 matchups between the 2 teams this year. This one is going to be on Monday night at 10 o'clock Eastern, so we're back for Canes After Dark once again. And this game will be on FanDuel Sports Network South, and of course, you can check it on 99.9 The Fan. The second game between the two will be in Carolina on January 17th at 7 o'clock. Now, tails of the tape, looking at the overall team stats between both sides. The Hurricanes are 8th on the power play at 24.4, while the Golden Knights are 3rd in the league with the 32.4. Now, despite the penalty kill going in our power play last night, they're still doing pretty good overall at 84.3, which is 7th, compared to Vegas, who's at 76% at 22nd. Now, looking at the faceoff percentage, the Hurricanes are at 49.9, which puts them 20th in the league compared to Vegas, where they're 7th at 52.7. Now, this is where it's going to get very interesting. Goals for per game, you're talking about the 2 of the top 5 teams in the league. Carolina, 4th at 4.15 goals per game, and Vegas is scoring 4.36, which puts them 2nd. And then in goals allowed, the Hurricanes have only given up 2.62 goals per game. That's even counting the Colorado game. That puts them 6th in the NHL, where Vegas is given over 3.07 goals per game, puts them 14th. Now, if you look at the last 10, Carolina is 8-2-0, of course, coming off the 8-game winning streak in their loss against Colorado. But the Vegas Golden Knights did lose in overtime to Seattle recently. So they're 6-2-2, but they've gotten wins over Utah in overtime and Edmonton as of late. And they also did have a 4-game winning streak of their own against the Kings, Ottawa, San Jose, and Calgary before dropping one to the Kings once again after that. Now, looking at your points leaders for the Hurricanes, Martin Necas has 23 points in 13 games, along with Andrei Svechnikov at 14, Sebastian Aho at 13 for your forwards. And then you also got Seth Jarvis at 11, Jack Roslovic at 10. And then for defense, Shane Gostisbehere at 9, Dmitry Orlov at 8. I'm assuming they're going to go back to Pierre Kochetkov, which they should, who has a 7-1 record with an 896 save percentage and a 251 goals against average. Now, if you're looking at the Golden Knights, guys you really got to worry about. Jack Eichel, 4 goals, 22 points in 14 games for Vegas. Mark Stone, who's actually out, he's got 21 points, but they have Ivan Barbashev, who has 7 goals and 16 points. Thomas Hertl with 12 points as well. You look at the defense, Alex Pietrangelo, 13 points is a plus 11 in 14 games. Shea Theodore, 11 points in 13, of course. Former Hurricane Noah Hannafin, 8 points in 14 games. And in terms of their goaltending, it'll be very interesting to see who they're going to throw in net, because they do have Aiden Hill, who's 6-2-1 with an 881 save percentage and a 313 goals against. And then former Toronto Maple Leaf Ilya Samsonov is 3-1-1 in 5 games with a 906 save percentage and a 295 goals against average. Now, for your Hurricanes, of course, goal leaders, Drac Roslovic with 9, Martin Necas with 8, and then in terms of assists, Martin Necas with 15, Aho with 10, and then in terms of assists for the defense, Gostisbehere, Orlov, and Burns all with 5. Plus minus, just to give it a little bit of an extra context, Orlov, Chatfield at plus 14 and 11, and then, of course, you got Eric Robinson at a plus 10. I know it's a lot of stats, a lot of things to look at, but if you're looking at this game overall, it's pretty simple. Just shake off the game against Colorado. You knew it was going to be tough anyway. Same day travel, elevation change. You got Spencer Martin in there for the first time. That game wasn't on him. What can you do? You can't sit him forever. You got to have rest Piotr every once in a while. And it's one of those games where you win. If you lose, oh, well. You're still 10-3-0. You're still got games in hand on the Rangers. You still got games in hand on New Jersey. Just take that game, learn from your mistakes, know what you need to do, wipe your hands, get ready for Vegas, and get back to what's been working for you. Go back to your structured level of play. Your special teams is really good. We've seen it so far this season. The power play's on fire. Penalty kill's been playing really well outside of getting stuck on a lot of 5-on-3s. But overall, it's just another opportunity to get back into the win column, start a new winning streak, and just just look at the Colorado game as what can you do? It is what it is, and just kind of get yourself ready for the next one. And that's all you can really do if you're the Carolina Hurricanes. Of course, players to watch. You got to look and see, Martin Necas, does he keep his point streak alive? Because right now it's just a point streak at this point. How many points is he going to, how many more games is he going to keep getting points in? Is he going to hit, 10? Is he going to keep this run alive? Same thing for Jack Roslovic. He's already tied last year's goal number. Does he hit number 10 and, keep really rolling? Because they always say it's hard to get to your 10th. And, it's one of those things where can he get it done tonight against Vegas? Gets him back on the double digits for the first time in a while. Then hopefully sets his sights because then he'll be 12 away from his career total at 22. Another guy I want to look at is Shane Gostisbehere. Of course, he's been putting up points, but he's kind of slowed down a little bit since the start. So I kind of want to see him get back into the groove of where you saw him, especially on that West Coast road trip. But I mean, honestly, at this point, every guy I think has been playing really well. Would you want some other guys, like the big boys, to start really stepping up for the Canes, doing like that Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid taking over type games? Yeah, you would love to see that. You want to see that from like an Andrei Svechnikov, Sebastian Aho, guys you would kind of expect. But honestly, there's not really nothing you can. You're going into the nitpicking type of stuff because honestly, the Canes are playing great hockey. No one's going to go 8-2-0-0. Like, you're not going to go on a run where you're going to, lose 3, like you're going to lose like 2 games all season. It's just not that possible. So honestly, there's really nothing to be worried about or concerned about. It's just, learn what happened against Colorado, get ready for Vegas, come back and do your thing, and play your structured defense, play your 2-way game that works. Forecheck the crap out of the other team, back check when you need to, keep Jack Eichel off the board, watch over Theodore and all those guys in Petrangelo, and just do what you need to do. Limit the penalties, find a way to just keep playing your game, and all things will go well. So honestly, not really super worried where the Hurricanes are right now. It's just, hey, let's bounce back. Let's get ready for Vegas and, get ready for their last road game of the week in Utah before they come back home. So it's just flush away Colorado, get ready for the next one, and get back to your game and stuff like that. But guys, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of the day. Now, for your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey, become a fantasy hockey expert, and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. And that will wrap up a Monday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. If you want to find me, I'm at OneTrueZach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. I do have a link tree in my bio where you can find all of my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to the Hockey Writers, go to the Hurricanes section, and click on my author link. You'll find all my articles over there. If you want to check out my other podcast, The Surgecast, just go to all podcast platforms and on YouTube, search The Surgecast, you'll find it there. Now, for this show, there are links to where you can listen to the podcast on YouTube, podcast platforms are on YouTube, or you can just go to those platforms specifically, go to Locked On Hurricanes. Make sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review so I can read it on the show. And for YouTube, Locked On Hurricanes, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up button to let me know if you like the show as well. And in the comments below, who are you looking for to have a big game against the Vegas Golden Knights on Monday night for your Carolina Hurricanes? Make sure to share the podcast with other Caniacs so they become everydayers just like you, because we're over 1,000 subscribers. And let's just keep this ball rolling. But I hope everyone enjoyed this Monday episode of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone enjoys Monday night's late night game against the Vegas Golden Knights. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.